Hello, fabulous friends and fans. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of February 21st, 2016. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. This week, we've got a full moon happening early in the week. Now, this full moon is happening in the sign of Virgo, in the first days of the sign of Virgo, and is speaking with Neptune and Saturn. I spoke about this in just about every monthly horoscope for the month of February, so you may want to watch your horoscope again to get a better idea, a more fuller idea of what it is you can expect this week. But I will say this, with this particular full moon in the sign of Virgo, now Virgo generally is the sign that has to do with the best, and it has to do with the details. And then we've got Neptune speaking with this full moon, standing across this full moon. And Neptune is not about the details at all. Neptune is about the whole. Neptune is about the feel of a thing, the energy of a thing, which doesn't have to do with what's happening on a more micro level, but it's looking at things from a little bit more distance and a little bit more of an understanding of all that is and all that could be. And then you add Saturn into the mix. Saturn speaking with this full moon as well, and speaking with Neptune as well, dancing with Neptune. And this suggests that all of us in at least one area of life will be asking ourselves what the reality is, what the truth is, where it is that we can actually manifest the ideal that we desire. Where is it that we have the ideal and we haven't been appreciating it, and that's the work that we need to do? And where is it that the better ideal, the better dream has eluded us because we haven't taken ownership for not only where we are, not only the blessings of where we are, but how it is that we actually can take action to move forward. Saturn is action, okay? Saturn rewards what you do, and Neptune is energy. It's about what you're feeling. And then you add to this an Earth full moon, especially a full moon in Virgo, which is very much about taking action and which is very much about the process that is required to get you wherever it is that you desire to go. So you put this together, and it does suggest very strongly that all of us will be thinking about practical ways, tangible ways to manifest the ideal, the beautiful, the dream, the big dream in some cases, and whatever that may be for you. This energy can be really great if you're an artist or a modern mystic or any kind of person who's involved in spiritual pursuits, artistic pursuits, a musician as well, because Neptune is about all those things, right? It is about ultimately that which connects us, the energy that connects us. And if you are utilizing this energy to your advantage, and this is going to be a time when you are saying, okay, if I believe this, right, or if I'm inspired in this way, if I want to create something beautiful, whether it is a life, whether it is a work of art, a creative endeavor, a spiritual endeavor, if you want to manifest it, what is required to get there? And am I willing to do that? Where you are not, you will at the very least be able to admit that to yourself. You will at the very least be able to see that for yourself and within yourself. But where it is that you are, then this can be a time of a deepening of commitment and a time of increased determination to make the most of your creativity, make the most of your spirituality, and make the most of your artistic expression. This can also be a time when we are asked to, in some way, take practical steps towards manifesting that bigger vision. So if you are somebody who is an artist and you've been at your craft for a long time, or for a while, let's say, this is going to be a time when you are asked to consider bringing your art out a little bit more, exposing that art to more people, finding ways to have more people hear you or see you or your creations, finding ways to actually reach people effectively so that you can have more people know what it is that you do and what it is that you desire to share. But it does come from a place of knowing that you have shown yourself that you know what you are doing. And where it is that you've told yourself, I'm an artist, I'm a musician, but you haven't really practiced for a really, really long time, like years, then this is also going to be a time when you get to look at that for yourself. What I also really like about this full moon, it is about it is about walking your talk, right? It's one thing to say, I believe in the dream. I believe that we're all one. I believe in the unity of everyone and everything. That's beautiful. And I do believe that that is true. But it's another thing to live that way. And it's another thing to live that way in your smallest moments. The sign of Virgo is about those smallest moments. It understands that things that you do in those smallest moments are what lead to the biggest consequences, the biggest changes. That is what eventually leads to whatever outcome and wherever it is that your life is at right now. Wherever it is that your sense of satisfaction, your sense of fulfillment, and especially on a creative level, your sense of being able to feel that the best of you, that creative energy within you has found an expression and has a way of coming forward. This energy asks us, have we been doing the work and have we been doing what we need to do on a daily basis or not? And there's another element to this as well that has to do with the spirituality to all this, right? It's one thing to say kindness is how we should live. It's another thing to actually live that, especially if you are in an environment that tests that, where it's around people that are not the easiest people to be kind to. This is going to be that chance to get that reality check and to question our illusion of who we are and look at that and compare that to what it is that we are demonstrating. So this is going to be a great time to help bring us into alignment, ideals, visions, aspirations with the practical day to day. For some, for a small percentage out there, this is going to have to do with sort of looking at a reality that you maybe didn't want to look at. But if you channel this energy to your advantage, this can be an amazing time that moves you towards a reality that is that much more inspired and feels especially magical. And I don't say that lightly, but feels touched by miracles more and more in your smallest moments. Supporting all this is we have Mercury. Mercury right now is in the sign of Aquarius and will be standing between, or we'll actually be having a conversation kind of simultaneously between Uranus and Saturn. So really helping us to activate some of the energy that will start to peak as we move towards the end of the year and into 2017. So this energy specifically is about, well, for one thing, Mercury is the ruling planet of Virgo. And the fact that Mercury is in the sign of Aquarius and speaking in harmony with both rulers of that sign does say that there's a certain harmony working out here. We're having the right conversations, we're having new ideas, and we're understanding how it is that we can grasp them and work with them. We're understanding how it is that we can utilize these new understandings and really utilize not only creativity that comes from a place of spirit, that comes from the ephemeral, but a creativity that comes from a place of mind and that comes from a place of understanding. How can we utilize that energy of sheer brilliance, of imagination, and even for some of us out there, even touching on genius? How can we utilize that and have it be something that improves our material world, our material life, what we are manifesting? How is it that we can use those insights, those ideas, those brainstorms, and actually have that translate into more money, more achievement, more success in whatever area of life that you like, and however it is that you define success? This is going to be the opportunity to do just that. And this move of Mercury will end up actually being the supportive emphasis to this full moon. It is possible for a few people out there that this full moon will have a lot of emotion to it, and at the same time a part of you inside saying, okay, grow up. It is what it is. And having to accept that. And yet there is so much possibility. There's such an understanding now that things can change in an instant. If you are one of those few that finds yourself having a little bit of a dip in energy, don't worry about it, let it be, accept it. If you are one of those people who finds yourself needing to get more rest, which is what can happen when Neptune is involved, that's okay, let yourself rest. A lot of things can get worked out just energetically and on a level of even health in that dream space as you are regenerating and rejuvenating your body in the space of sleep. So if you need to do that, that's awesome. But all of that eventually will give way to real understanding and just glimpses of clarity, exactly what you need, and also the motivation to take action, action that can be truly consequential and change your life for the better in just about any area that you like. Well, thank you so much for watching the introduction. I'm truly so grateful for it. Right about now, as this is being published, it is either being published with the Mars special, or the Mars special has already been published. So as it is with these things, it's done. And I'm excited about that. And I hope that by now, as this is being shared with you, that also has been shared with you. So I hope that you are enjoying that, looking at what should be coming up now that we are officially in Mars retrograde season. So happy Mars retrograde season to everybody out there. I'm so very grateful for our interactions on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, my website, nadiyashah.com, and the YouTube comments as well. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, thumbs up. It truly means so much to me. Sometimes you guys ask questions that are a little bit more personal, that have to do with what's happening in your unique circumstance, in your unique life. And if you have those personal questions, please do consider a personalized horoscope where I can do just that. Look at your unique birth chart and answer your specific questions that are uniquely for you. And there's lots of areas of focus. You can decide what to choose. Very popular have been the new areas of focus. The life purpose reading has been very popular. Thank you so much for that. Luck and success, and luck in love. So those are the new areas of focus that have been really popular with you guys. I'm so very grateful for your trust. It truly does mean so much to me. Of course, you being here is everything. You being here allows me to live my mission in the world, and that is to affirm that the universe is wise and loving. The universe is wise and loving. And you being here, watching this video right now, my true intention and my true hope is that you in some way feel a burst of hope, a burst of inspiration, and more gratitude in your life, that you feel connected, more connected to that knowing for yourself, and be able to glimpse that wisdom and that mystery for yourself that lets you know that the universe is wise and loving in every one of our moments. Well, thank you so much once again. How all this wonderful stuff speaks to you and your sign is coming up right now. Hello, fabulous Aries. This particular week is speaking very strongly to a few different areas of life. One in particular is the work space. It has to do with work. It has to do with health. It has to do with what is it that you're doing on every single day, day in and day out, and how is it helping you? How is it benefiting you in the bigger picture of your life? And particularly for you now, how is it benefiting your understanding of ultimately those bigger dreams that you desire to connect to, that you desire to achieve? Does it fit in with, whether it's a plan, whether it is a vision? Is it actually going to help you go where it is that you desire? Where it does not, this is going to be a time when you start to ask yourself, okay, what is it that I do need to do? And that's a very valuable question, an important question. So do stay connected to that, because that is where lots of good things can come about, lots of great understandings can come about. Where it is that you do feel that you are on that path, this can be a time of some refinement. And this can be a time when how to make those refinements and how to move forward, there might be a little bit of mixed messages. Ultimately, your intuition can guide you powerfully so, but also I gotta say your friends as well. Your friends can guide you. Having a good conversation with somebody can help you to understand how where it is right now actually does fit into that bigger plan, that bigger vision, a bigger inspiration for your life. You can find that right balance between living the dream and at the same time doing what you gotta do today. And you can find ways to move towards more of whatever it is that you desire, whether it's lofty aims like more peace, more contentment, or whether it's something more specific that has to do with the things that you desire, like goals that you desire to attain, or things that you desire to have. Regardless of which it is, you certainly can have that. You certainly can move towards that. But this is going to be a time that is about aligning your vision, aligning your understanding that what you're doing right now does fit in with that bigger plan. And a friend can really help you see through to that truth. When it comes to love this week, a lot of the energy really is based on what is happening in the workspace, what is happening in the health space, but there's also some energy there that's a little bit confusing overall. And so if you're open to meeting someone new, my advice would be, as I look at this, if there has been someone either that is, if you go to the gym, okay, if there's someone at the gym or there's someone in your workplace, in one of these spaces, if there's been someone that you've been interested in, this is going to be a time of a reality check. This is going to be a time where you get to check your illusions and check the reality. And this is going to be a time that asks you to get in touch with yourself and get in touch with why it is that you have felt drawn to another person, particularly if that person is in these realms or in a profession that is health related in particular. All of this ultimately is to help you to understand why you want what you want and what kind of love ultimately it is that you are moving towards. So where it feels that there's more work to do on your part, or where it might be that you've filled in some holes, this is going to be a time that asks you to check your own assumptions and to accept the friendship that is on offer, or also to accept where maybe, you've made this whole story. It's possible for a small percentage of you out there, maybe you've created a whole backstory about what kind of person this is, and now you'll get to see a little bit through that illusion and realize that they are just human. So that may be part of the learning experience for a few Aries out there. Those of you who are in an established bond, this energy becomes about, how do I make this person more a part of my life? How do I make this person integrated with my life experience? This could be a time when you are asking yourself, or you're talking with your significant other, of doing something more on a daily basis, doing something work related or otherwise that allows you to feel that you're actually doing something that both of you really like and that both of you can enjoy together. It's about bringing together passions and creating greater success as a result. This is going to be a time that's going to ask you to iron out the details. So that is where your energy is best spent. Whether it is just wanting this person more a part of your daily life, or it is actually wanting to have a shared work experience. This is the time when some of those details might not necessarily be clear, but the dream is there, the desire is there, and with a little bit of focus and a little bit of just stopping and asking yourselves some key questions, you certainly can find a pathway forward so that you feel that much more connected to the person you love in your every moment. Hello, fabulous Taurus. This week we have got this full moon happening in a very romantic part of your sky and a very creative part of your sky. For those of you who are engaged in a creative endeavor, this can be a time when you are asking yourself, okay, am I getting as much as I am giving? Is the balance a little bit skewed? Have I been prioritizing my creative vision, my creative endeavor sufficiently or not? So you get to have all these insights and all these understandings into the level of fulfillment that you are feeling in your life. Creative fulfillment or just joy. Are you experiencing enough joy, or have too many days gone by where you have not been allowing yourself, or have not felt very connected to just sheer happiness? This also can be a time of fruition of a creative project, especially something that might have felt like it's dragged on for a really long time. This can be a time when things start to feel like they're coming together, starting to feel like they are culminating. There might still be work to do. There might be a little bit of hustling to do as well, considering the way Saturn is speaking with this full moon. However, it seems to me, as I look at the sky, that for you, it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth that effort, and it's worth working towards. This is especially emphasized to me by the fact that Mercury is moving through the very top of your sky right now, and speaking with other power players in the sky, like Saturn, like Uranus. And this does suggest that some really great ideas could come to you now as to how it is that you can create a greater sense of success, how it is that you could accomplish more, how it is that you could achieve more and have that sense of personal satisfaction as a result. Those insights now, and especially those conversations that you have now, can really open doorways for you, like literally and figuratively, where you may find yourself interacting with people higher up on whatever ladder it is that you desire to work that you desire to work towards. Where it comes to matters of love, we also have Venus at this very top of the sky. And so any matter of love is going to be that, as I look at this, this is very much about consequentialness. And what I mean by that is Venus this week is going to be at the top of your sky and moving towards next week, where Venus will start doing what Mercury is doing this week. And it does suggest that if you are in an established bond, this is when you start moving towards an understanding of where you desire to go together. What is the bigger vision and what the two of you are working towards now? What is it that you believe is worth striving for, moving towards, working towards together? And how is it that that's going to make a more romantic and a more committed experience for the two of you? Those of you open to meeting someone new, so much of actually not only this week, but into the next as well, will have to do with wanting to be with someone that in some way is doing something in the world that you respect or that you admire. Wanting to feel a connection to somebody who actually is, whether you consider them, you know, a couple of steps up that ladder. It's almost like, you know, if I may say, the ancients would look at this and say, you know, wanting to be with someone who is successful, wanting to be with someone who has accomplished a certain amount in their life that you can look up to, that you can respect. And sometimes, again, the ancients would say, maybe being drawn to people who are older. Now, age is something that we understand differently in our modern world than we have before. However, this ultimately does say that you are going to be more drawn to now and in the weeks ahead, more drawn to somebody who represents that ideal. You're thinking big picture. And if this person in some way doesn't fit that higher ideal, anybody that you meet now, if they don't fit for whatever reason, then it's just not going to appeal to you. But where it is that you do see that that is possible, that this person could be a part of that bigger picture, you will discover and you will come about a smart way to move forward and to nurture the connection that could be there. Hello, fabulous Gemini. This week we have got a full moon happening at the very base of your sky, making it that much more an important time for you. I would really encourage you to nurture this time, really connect with it, and understand that maybe you won't feel like you have all the answers just yet, but do not worry about a thing and don't worry about that. Very soon, especially as the month of March begins, and I will be speaking about this in the March horoscope, so do look out for those. But it is a little bit later on as we move into March, as we move into solar eclipse season, or rather just eclipse season, because we have a lunar eclipse and a solar eclipse taking place in the month of March. As we move towards there, that's going to be the real game changer time for a lot of us out there, and that includes yourself as well. It is this month, though, some of the energy is going to be brought towards your home, going to be brought towards matters of family of origin. And this has to do with everything from the aesthetic of your home to actually having to go wherever it is that you consider home. With this particular full moon, just be mindful, because as I look at this, this suggests that there might be some quotes that you get now that are not accurate. There might be a vision that you have in your mind of what you want your home to be like. Maybe you're thinking about redecorating. And it may feel like whatever it is, the resources or the exact manifestation of what is actually an idea and not really being connected to what you really want, all of that is possible now. So you might have this idea that you want to have your home look a certain way, but the reality might be that you want it to feel a certain way. And so it's important to make that distinction, because I feel like you might go about trying to make changes to your physical environment and then realize like, okay, yeah, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. So that is something that you do want to look out for, that feeling of putting a lot of energy into something and then realizing it's not what you thought it would be. And at the same time, you do want to make sure though that you complete certain things. If you have a connection with somebody that's been, I mean, you've known this person, let's say since childhood, you've known this person for a really long time, you've been working with them, for the few of you out there have been working on a particular project, a creative project, especially with this person, a part of you might feel ready to just, you know, abandon it completely. Try to tie up some loose ends before you do just that. Even if you might be feeling like, oh, okay, yeah, this isn't working. Just give it that extra hour. Just give it that extra little bit of time so that at least you have something to show for it now that you're at the other side of it. So that'll only apply to a few of you out there. But again, if you've been working with somebody on a creative project in particular, if you've been having, you know, sort of a project that has to do with bringing together art or creative vision or music, any of these kinds of things, make sure that you are not just sort of, you know, very dramatically saying, okay, no, this isn't working, I'm out of here. Because there really isn't a need for that. And you may actually find yourself changing your mind. Some things aren't always very clear in the moment, but they become a lot more clear with just a day or just 2 days at that. In your case, in just a couple of weeks' time, things will start looking really different. For some of you, as I said, family of origin, home of origin, so you might have to spend more time with your parents, and it seems like a part of you is actually feeling very fulfilled by this prospect, feeling very connected, that much closer to understanding what has been, understanding your primary caregivers in particular, and understanding how what has been, especially if we go way back to the earliest part of your life, if we go way back to your childhood, if we go way back to your earlier years, I have a feeling as I look at the sky that some of you out there are going to be reflecting on that and having a chance to, whether it is see things from a different perspective, resolve anything that might need to be, or just to have an understanding and use that as inspiration to be a better, more spiritual person today. And it might happen in a totally unrelated moment. It might be that you're with somebody and then all of a sudden you realize like, oh my God, yeah, I'm saying something that my mom said and I hated it when she said that, but oh my God, now it makes sense. It could just be like that, but a moment like that really helps you see so much of your past and so much of who you are today differently and in a much more loving light at that. And where it comes to matters of heart, this week it is so much about seeing what was. So where it is that you are open to meeting someone new, or even if you're with somebody, if there has been or if there was sort of a defining experience in your past, like going back years, this is going to be a time when you get to see it differently. This is going to be a time when you see, okay, yeah, that maybe if you are one of those people out there, sometimes we go through experiences, not the most fun experiences. This is going to be a time when you realize, okay, it was what it was, and it was what it needed to be at that time. And now I'm in a different place in my life. And to feel a sense of peace with that. And to not have the same kind of emotional reaction that you might have had before. For those of you who are in an established bond, I have this feeling that you'll be thinking about home and home base and how this person fits in and how you like this person fitting in differently. So that might be a topic of conversation and consideration. Those of you open to meeting someone new, again, I think a lot of this is going to be based on what was. And so you might find yourself meeting somebody who's very much like someone who was, and you have like sort of this click moment, this instant moment. Okay, wait a minute, this person is a lot like that person 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and I really did not like that experience, so I am not going there. It might just be something like that, like a small little thing they do that just has this moment of knowing for you that will help you make the right choice in terms of where you want any kind of first meeting to go from here. Hello, fabulous Cancer. This week we have got a full moon happening in a decidedly talkative part of your sky. Now, if there is anybody out there who should be mindful when meeting people online, it certainly is you. So this is a time when you do want to be paying attention and you do want to be especially mindful. This looks to be a theme that has been playing out as of late, from last week into this week and into next week as well. So this is an energy you do want to watch, because if you're open to meeting someone new, this could be a time when you think you are, meeting one kind of person and it ends up being something else. And it is really, really important now, especially to try and have that, that video chat as soon as possible. Like, within a few minutes of talking or meeting someone online that you think you like, make sure you are making sure that you are talking to who it is that you believe that you are talking to. That's all I'm saying. Because it does look like there might be a lot of moments where that isn't necessarily clear. And also, a lot of times, and a lot of people out there, it's all good, but sometimes you go in with one intention, another person goes in with a whole other intention. And a lot of times actually in today's world, and this might actually be you doing this as well, where you're sort of experimenting and deciding who you want to be. And especially we find this, like, the younger you are, the more likely you are to, consider different identities and things. It's just part of figuring out who you are. So if you're in that space, that's fine, but make sure you're being mindful as to do that in a way that still allows you to feel okay about yourself, because there certainly are spaces online that people like to go to where that is not only expected but indulged. So if you want to take on a whole other, persona, find places to do that where it is the norm, rather than having somebody feel like they are moving in a direction that is not accurate. So that would be an important point to remember. For those of you who are in an established bond, I have a feeling as I look at the sky that there might be a difficult conversation that has to take place. And a part of you might feel like, okay, I got to say this, it's got to be said. We've got to express this. And yet, for a few of you out there, that desire and how to bring it together, there might be a little bit of a disconnect. There might even be greater confusion caused by you trying to explain something. And so it's really important now to consider, and this might not be like, necessarily in terms of the message, right? This could be something as simple as maybe you are speaking in a situation connected to the person that you love, and in a situation where you haven't really figured out what it is that you feel. You haven't really figured out what it is that you are thinking, what it is that you are understanding. And while there are spaces and there are times when you can sort of figure it out by talking, this could be a time when you create more confusion in doing that. So be mindful of that. It looks like there's going to be at least one moment this week when you feel like there's a whole lot that you want to say, and feeling like you're trying to figure out the way to say it. The thing is that when you're ready and the moment comes together, it'll have a certain flow to it. So if you feel like you're fighting it, you feel like you're getting frustrated, just leave it alone for a moment. One of the best advices I ever got was, if you don't know what to do, do nothing. Now, sometimes we can't do that, right? Life brings us some pressing moments right to our moment. Says you got to deal with this right now. But a lot of times we tell ourselves we have to deal with something right away that really we don't. That really we can give ourselves a little bit of time to figure out our way forward. So that is going to be part of your learning right now, part of your sacred learning, realizing what is immediate and has to be expressed right now, and what it is maybe that you can take a few moments to just figure out what it is that you're feeling, because chances are some strong feelings collide with strong thoughts, and in the mix, how to express what it is that's really happening so that it brings you closer to the person you love is going to be part of how you grow this week. And this is true as far as talking and communicating. Strive to be as clear as you can, because there is that possibility now of maybe not necessarily being understood. And especially where it comes to understanding based on language or based on cultural differences. Okay, so language differences, cultural differences. I know a lot about that language stuff. being in Mexico and still learning Spanish after all this time. So there are times, you know, when you are interacting with people and you don't realize that they're coming from a different belief system or a different framework, or even just on a practical level, different language. And to them, what you're saying could mean something different than you intend it to. And so be mindful of that in all your dealings now, because ultimately what you want is clarity. And if you give it a few days, this is likely in the early part of the week, but as we move towards the later part of the week, that clarity will come, that insight will come, and that ability to say what it is that makes the biggest difference in a way that you like, in a way that is smart and strategic and creates positive change, becomes that much more possible for you. Hello, fabulous Leo. This week we have got this full moon happening in a decidedly financial part of your sky. So in the financial part of the sky, we've got this full moon taking place. This is going to have you needing to look at matters of money. That's just the way it is now. And in some cases, it'll have you looking at matters of money that have to be dealt with right now, matters of money that you've got to look at from a more mature perspective, from a more balanced perspective. And especially you want to be mindful of, and I feel as I look at this, that it could be that it's almost as if I'm seeing you spending a whole lot of money on something that you really might not need to. Now, this is a lot more likely. I think it's a lot more likely for those of you of your opposite signs. So the sign of Aquarius. So the Aquarians out there are going to find this more likely, but for you as well. For you, it has more to do with that spending and thinking that you need to spend, where actually it might not be nearly as pressing. But it could also flip the other way, where you're being way too conservative. You're thinking that things need to cost way less than they do. And so this is going to be part of you needing to navigate and understand and get a more realistic perspective as to as much it is that you are getting back. There's a lot going to be determined on what you're willing to give. Now, there are times when in the sky you get a great deal, right? You just hit on that big break, that big deal. You get something and you call it, you know, like quote unquote a steal. You get something for like 75% off or 80% off, and you're just delighted and jumping over the moon. And that's great, but that's not this time. Even if you may be wanting to believe that, even if people might be telling you that, this might not be the time. And I would also say this, where it comes to like buying luxury products, especially this week, maybe just hold back a little bit, just this week, so that you can allow a clearer perspective to step into the picture, to know what it is that you are getting. Because I feel as I look at this that, you know, if you're buying luxury products, make sure you're buying them from places you know that are certified to get those products, and you know that you're getting the real thing. So that's going to be part of this energy as well. And make sure that what it is that you're getting actually is granting you a deal that, and it isn't just somebody saying, oh, this is a great deal, this is a great deal. The reality might be if you just wait a little bit, if you hang back just a little bit, you will be even more delighted with your purchase if you just give it a little bit of time and just let the first days of this week pass. Where it comes to matters of love this week, I love that Mercury is moving through your opposite sign. I love that Mercury is going to be speaking with Saturn, speaking with Uranus, both in fire signs as well. It does say that on a heart level, you are connecting with people. Now, whereas for the Cancers out there, the sign just before yours, I said, okay, be careful where it comes to meeting people online. For you, that like the whole reverse is the way to go. So what that means is if you want to meet somebody new, this is a great week to make that connection with somebody online. This is a great week to feel that sense of connection on a mind level, and to feel like you are being understood and you understand somebody through communication, through words, through messages, through online interactions, more than other times. So if you're open to meeting someone new, I would say be willing to see what's out there in the online sphere. You are a fire sign. You do like to have that immediate experience, but for all that, if you are willing to talk, and even if it's someone that you've known before or not, someone you know that knows someone you know, then this could be a really good time to initiate that conversation. It'll be a split-second decision if you do or not, but the chances of things going in a way that you like, especially in the fullness of time, very likely now. Those of you in an established bond, I just think you're going to have so much fun with this person. If you keep it about love, if you keep it about heart, there's a deepening of commitment, there's a deepening of communication, a deepening of mutual understanding by speaking with this other person. That will allow you to feel that much more connected, allow you to feel like you're moving towards a shared, strong future. And it's a future that excites you and seems to delight you very much. Hello, fabulous Virgo. This week, we've got a full moon in your sign. It's a full moon in your sign. Now, this is huge, happens about once every year, and this is your full moon. So this is a time when matters of heart, matters of identity, matters of understanding come to fruition, come to a fuller sense of understanding and a fuller sense of clarity. So that's going to be part of what is on offer for you now. There is also the very strong possibility now that you will either come to a fuller understanding of where you have been, get an answer that you've been waiting for, and get a fuller sense of where it is that you're going. It's very possible now that you get the thing is with a full moon, it's about things coming to fruition, things coming to a culmination. And so there might be a little bit of, having to deal with the reality of what is as part of this. And yet at the same time, I do think that there is something about how events unfold this week that leads you to understand and feel that much more empowered as to what action you can take to be that much better. Be mindful this week of any kind of uncertainty you might feel. Uncertainty is a matter, it's really a part of life in every area of life. We can never be totally 100% certain, but we can be smart. We can be as smart as we are able to be. And that's going to be part of the invitation now. There might be a part of you that feels that I don't have all the answers. I don't know exactly how this is going to go. And yet there is that part of you that knows that you have the information you need and that you have the intelligence you need to make the right choice. Now, this is in every area of life, particularly those things that matter to you most. As I said, on a level of identity, but also on a level of heart. And that, of course, includes matters of love. And so with this particular full moon, chances are that some very strong feelings may be coming to the surface. It may feel that you can't necessarily express everything as easily as you would like. You might feel like you got to hold back just a little bit. Trust that feeling. It may not necessarily be the time to give a full-on declaration or to necessarily accept that from another person. However, it is a time to pace yourself. It is a time to say, okay, you're willing to meet somebody, you're willing to be open, you're willing to stay connected to and build that bond and continue to strengthen that bond with the person you're in a committed relationship with. And yet it isn't always about having all the answers, and that is really okay. It isn't always about having to understand everything that this other person does, and that's really okay. Ultimately, what it does come down to is being willing to understand yourself and being willing to talk about that, being willing to speak that, and being willing, just a little bit of willingness to want to understand, to be willing to understand really can go a long way now in strengthening the love that you have and also moving you towards the love that you want. Hello, fabulous Libra. This week we have got a full moon happening in the sign just before yours, and then you add to this Mercury in a part of the sky that is decidedly romantic, reaching out to Saturn, reaching out to Uranus. So as I look at this, the one area that I think actually is going to work very well in your favor is love and luck as well. And so if you're in an established bond, this could be a time of just a renewed joy, a sense of awakening, a sense of excitement about what you're doing with this person and where it is that you could go together. If you're open to meeting someone new, this is also a really great time to make those connections happen, to talk to as many people, to be social, and to do things specifically with the intention to enjoy yourself, to enjoy your life, and to have fun. But as I said, there's also an element of luck around this energy as well. So it could be, you know, like you're standing in line at the grocery store and somebody says something and it just, you know, piques your curiosity. It makes you realize something. You have that proverbial light bulb moment, and that lends you to a lucky break. This could be in many different areas, right? Like it could be something as simple as you are in line and you hear somebody talking about a singing contest and you have wanted to be a singer for 20 years, but sort of, you know, let that go a long time ago. And then you realize, oh my God, maybe I should go. Maybe I should go and see how it feels and see how it goes. And there's not a lot to lose. That alone, you know, allowing yourself to go there and being mindful not to talk yourself out of anything. But if you feel it and if it feels right, then to go in that direction can end up being very good for you. And as I said, very lucky for you. And also, of course, I would also say, as we move towards the later part of the week, you may want to buy a lottery ticket as well. Okay, just spend that $1, that $2. There is a lot of luck energy in the air right now, and particularly if it's any kind of lottery ticket where it's actually like the machine, it has to do with the numbers, and the machine is gonna it's going to be something, not necessarily a scratching thing, not an instant thing, but something where the machine will choose numbers for you, or if you want, you can choose the numbers as well, but something that is being processed and then you've got to wait a little bit to see the results. Those are the types of games that will be especially lucky. And of course, with this particular energy, it's really good energy where it comes to children and the kids in your life. So if you have children, this is a time when you could get some very good news around that front. And if you are open to having children, if you want that, this is also a time when you get the right information that helps you to move towards realizing that desire. What I do really love about this week for you is that a lot of the energy that might be a little bit confusing is kind of behind the scenes and resolves itself in the sleep space, if you will. So of all the signs needing more sleep, it very likely will be you. So make sure you're getting that sleep. But for all others out there, it does look like, because a lot of the otherwise not so easy energy is resolved in the sleep state, so make sure you're getting your rest. But otherwise, the energy is fun, the energy is flirty, very likely could be end up, you know, just very spontaneously flirting with someone who's a really strong prospect for you. And if you're in an established bond, just enjoying this person and realizing how lucky you are in love is part of what is on offer this week. Hello, fabulous Scorpio. This week we have got a full moon happening in a part of the sky for you that has to do with friends. It has to do with friendship, and it has to do with understanding the people you align yourself with and why. At the same time, we've got sort of a romantic inclination as part of this as well. And so as I look at this, if you're open to meeting someone new, be really mindful before you try to make a friendship into something more. And at the same time, be really mindful of where it is that, you know, whether it's someone else providing that impetus or it's you. It looks like there's this line between friendship and flirtation that might get a little blurred now. You may not be seeing things necessarily exactly as they are. And so it's always smart, and I think your sign knows this more than most, it's always smart to take your time. It's always smart to hold back a little bit. You might have a certain intuitive feeling and you might trust that. Your life has shown you can trust that. And yet, if you feel like, okay, maybe you don't want to just put it all out there on the table, that's probably a smart way to go. I would even say that's the best way to go. You don't want to just put it out there, if only to, you know, not make things uncomfortable, but also because things might not be exactly as they necessarily seem now. So give yourself that little bit of time, and that really will help you, and that really will go a long way towards realizing whether or not this friend is the one that you want to pursue something more with, something more romantic with. And that will become more and more clear, especially the further we get into the week. Those of you in an established bond, I just have a feeling as I look at the sky that you're going to be feeling like we should be having more fun. We should be doing more. A part of you that might be feeling a little bit bored in the routines of that particular relationship, well, that feeling won't be there that long. As we move towards the later part of the week, the energy does change. It gets lighter, it gets more fun, it gets more provocative in the best possible sense, in the lightest possible sense, and the energy does speed up, if you will. So it looks like a time as we move towards the later part of the week. We've got Mercury right now moving through the very bottom of your sky, helping you to feel positive changes happening, particularly on the home front. And so this is, if you're with somebody, if you're in an established bond, this can be a really nice time to feel that home is a friendly place. Home is a fun place. So whereas early in the week you might be feeling bored with the routine of being with this person for however much time you have been, by the time we move to the later part of the week, things start to feel like they're flowing more quickly, and that they're a lot more light, and they're a lot more easy, and feeling like you're with somebody who really is a friend and really does understand you that much more. Also, as we move towards the later part of the week, if you are open to meeting someone new, it very well might be a family member that connects you with someone with some very strong possibilities there. On the other side of it, it is very possible that a family member can be part of you getting a break at work, or getting a work-related opportunity, or a financial opportunity. So if you're somebody who wants more clients, if you're self-employed, or who's looking for work, a really great place to reach out, pick up the phone, phone or online messages or text messages. Family members are the people who can help point you in the right direction, or even make a referral that makes all the difference, that makes you feel like things really are going your way when it comes to your work and your finances, helping you to make gains with the real potential to last a long time. Hello, fabulous Sagittarius. This week we've got a full moon happening at the very top of your sky. So a full moon at the very top of your sky, this is all about career, the big goals, the big achievements, and understanding what is worth manifesting, what is worth working towards. And this whole idea of manifesting is that much more amplified for a few different reasons. One is you've got Saturn in your sign. Saturn will be in your sign all year and next year as well. So you're getting comfortable with this energy slowly but surely now. So we've got Saturn in your sign, and you add to that Saturn is speaking with this full moon early in the week, and as we move towards the later part of the week, Mercury is speaking in harmony with that Saturn in your sign. So this to me says all around tangible manifestation. So manifesting different circumstances. Early in the week, I do feel as I look at this full moon that for some of you out there, a small percentage of you out there, it might be that you're going for something that you think you should be going for, or it might be part of someone else's vision or ambition for you. So you want to be mindful of that. Check in with yourself, sort of consider, is this what you really want? It's always a good idea to go for what it is that you really want to do. It's always a good idea to consider what makes you happy, what you're passionate about, what you're enthusiastic about, and how you can align that with what you do day in and day out. It's always a good idea. How you can align that with what you desire to manifest. It's always a good idea, but it's about trusting it. It's about being brave with it. It's about going in that direction that isn't always necessarily easy. So being clear with yourself, I also do feel as I look at this, it's very possible now, if you have any kind of job interview, that you may not be understanding what the job actually entails. The job might entail something differently than you realize. It might be something different than you realize as well. So you want to be mindful of that as a possibility this week. Opportunities could come up. That's awesome. If it feels right to pursue them, that's awesome. And yet give yourself that little bit of space. And I would say if an opportunity comes up early in the week and there's a, like an interview situation, strive to have that interview late in the week, because that will allow you to utilize the lucky energy, if you will, that energy that is working very much to your advantage in many different ways. It'll help you find the right words. It'll help you see through to the truth of the situation so that you can make that much more of an informed choice. And this is true in love as well. So if you're open to meeting someone new, I really like what Mercury is doing in the later part of the week for you, because this is about connecting with other people, having communications, and it's also about being pleasantly surprised in flirtation, especially. And so if you're open to meeting somebody new, I would encourage you to maybe plan some fun things to do as we get towards the later part of the week. That's the energy that you want to capitalize on. That's the energy you want to tap into, just because of the lack of clarity in the early part of the week. And that's what you want to avoid. And also, I think your focus is going to be on where it is that your work is going, where it is that your career is going, what it is that you really want to achieve, where it is that you're ready to be more honest with yourself about what you want to do and how you're going to get there. That will take more of your energy and might not let you relax as much as you need to actually be open and ready to meet new people. If you are in an established bond, I think that it is later in the week when the energy gets decidedly more fun. Don't give in to any stress. There might be some work, career-related stress that feels a little bit distracting from the bond that you have, from the partnership that you have. Strive not to give into it so much, because I do think that that alone, that decision alone, that refinement alone will ensure that you are being connected to the person you love in the right way. You're being connected to the person you love in a way that ultimately feels like you are being mutually supportive and that you are benefiting from this bond. But if you schedule some things for later in the week, some fun things to do, some explorations to do together, not only will it feed your soul, but also it will help you to remember and help you to feel that much more joy with this person that you love and you trust. Hello, fabulous Capricorn. This week we've got a full moon happening. This full moon is happening in a part of the sky for you that has to do with vision and dreaming and figuring what you need to put into place to really take off and manifest big, beautiful things. Not that far into the future, next month, and I speak about this in the March horoscopes, the monthly horoscopes for March, so please do look out for that. That should be published at some point this week. Those horoscopes and what is coming up a month from now is really big career understandings, breakthroughs, changes. Right now, it's more about understanding what you need to put into place, what more you want to put into place so that you can continue to move in the direction that you desire. Manifestation is right around the corner, even if it feels like you're already in that place. Even if it feels like you're already manifesting wonderful things, I have no doubt that you are. But even if it feels like that now, really, this is just setting the stage for those bigger breakthroughs, bigger achievements that are coming up in a month's time, that are coming up as we move further into the month of March. So know that even if things feel really good, nurture that, continue to magnify that, run with that momentum. If you are one of those Capricorns out there who would say to me, Nadiya, I'm not feeling that at all. And that's okay. We all have moments like that. It does happen from time to time. Don't worry about it. Dream. Consider. What do you have to do? And it might not be the thing that you think. It might not be like A to B necessarily the obvious thing. I will also say this, if you are either looking to go back to school or you are in school, you want to be mindful now of any applications. You want to be mindful of any examinations that you're taking as well. The chance of you getting some details like where it is and showing up on time, these types of things might, not be accurate. The chance of your applications, or the chance of you thinking that you need to take a certain program to do what you desire to do, also might not necessarily be accurate, or take this certain course might not necessarily be accurate. If you can wait just a little bit, especially as we move towards the later part of the week, if you can wait to take that exam, that might be a good thing to do if you can, if you have that choice. Now, we don't always have that choice, right? But also, if you feel that there's something more that you need to be in order to do and have what you want, especially around this full moon, I would advise you, my advice to you would be to wait just a little bit, to wait as we move towards the later part of the week, because there's a lot of like dreamy and uncertain yet really motivated energy that's happening. And this full moon is speaking that much more importantly to you. It's happening in an earth sign. It's happening speaking with your ruling planet Saturn. And yet, if you can just give yourself that little bit of a breathing room, then you will find things feel a lot clearer, things feel like they have more momentum, and also you start working with an energy of prosperity and an energy of being able to convey the self-value that you have in ways that create more opportunity for you. So that would be my advice where it comes to anything that you are pursuing now. Give yourself that little bit of breathing room, give yourself that little bit of space, so that you are sure that the answers you are getting actually resonate with and are part of where it is that you desire to go, what's worth putting your energy into, so you can manifest that much more. And this is also true when it comes to matters of love, matters of heart, particularly if you are open to meeting someone new and you find yourself resonating with, connecting with someone who may not necessarily live in the same city as you. Give it a little bit of time, because I feel like if you're open to meeting someone new, you might connect with somebody early in the week, and you may want to pace yourself a little bit, because early in the week, the energy is not necessarily very clear. You might meet somebody and your first reaction is, oh no, not that. Or your first reaction is a little bit indifferent. Maybe even, you know, a little bit, it goes a little bit over your head that, oh, this person's flirting with me. You may not even realize it until days later. But it is as we move towards the later part of the week that your confidence is high and there's a sense of connecting with others, particularly those that you've had connections with before. And there's a sense of you not needing to do that much to make good things happen for you in every area of life. And of course, that includes in matters of heart as well. If you're in an established bond, there might be, you know, a feeling of some mixed messages early in the week. Don't worry about that. That will pass. It might be your partner comes in and says, I believe this and I believe that. But the truth is they may not necessarily even know. They might just be a little bit on a high horse. So let them do that. Let them go in that direction. Love them through it. And know that that conversation that really clears the air and that helps them to understand, like, you know, wait a minute, you had said that. Now, what do you think that, how could that be interpreted? You know, when you love somebody, you tell them the truth. And so being able to say, how do you think that could be interpreted, is a very brave thing to do, but ultimately could be a thing that helps you feel that much closer and that much more confident in the love that you have. Hello, fabulous Aquarius. This week we have got a full moon happening in a part of the sky for you that has to do with money, what we call other people's money. So this is like grants, loans, bursaries, insurance payments, tax returns. I believe I said this in the monthly horoscope, and I'll repeat it now. I know that right around this time, I don't know the laws in every country, but I know in Canada that when you file taxes in Canada, normally what happens is, like, by late February, by the end of February, you should get all your, you know, T1 or T whatever slips. And what that means is basically your employers or the people you've worked with should provide you with what you need so that you can file your taxes. And so a lot of people start filing their taxes towards the end of February and especially in the beginning of March. My advice, my very strong advice would be, do not even look at your taxes right now. Okay, like if you get your T1 or T whatever in the mail, then okay, I know what that is, and just leave it alone for a couple of days. If you get it early in the week, I would say if you can, don't even open it until you get later in the week. Just because I feel like things might not necessarily be understood, things might not necessarily be as clear. And so it would really be helpful to you to, it isn't about not wanting to see something, but it's more about saying, okay, let me just pace myself, let me work with the universe, work with the energy. Because I have a feeling that if you try to do your taxes now and anytime within the next 2 weeks, I have a feeling as I look at this, and even, you can even, maybe even do it before, right? Look at your stuff as we get towards the end of the week. But I have a feeling that if you try to do it beforehand, either you'll feel overwhelmed or you'll make a mistake. If you try to connect with somebody to do your taxes now, they as well might make that error, might make that mistake. So things aren't always as they appear, especially where it comes to matters of finances. This might be a time when you get a bill that you know isn't right, or you feel like you've got to purchase something that might not actually be the case. So avoid any kind of large purchases this week. Later in the week is fine, especially if that purchase is like tech, computer related, which is stuff that you love anyways. Wait until later in the week. That is when you've got a lot more lucky energy on your side to make amazing tech related purchases, and just have the right conversation at the right time that clears the air, that really helps you to understand and to make sure that you are communicating in a way that is actually what you feel and actually what you believe, that you're making plans that make you feel happy and excited, and also that you're being a grown-up and you're seeing things within yourself that you like, you're feeling strong, you're feeling good. All of that starts kicking in as we move towards the later part of the week. That's the energy you want to amplify. That's the energy you want to nurture. In the early part of the week, though, what I do really like is that there is the possibility in the early part of the week that you get that answer, you get that cure that allows you to make a meaningful change, whether it's on a level of health, it's on a level of emotion especially, that you really are able to make a meaningful change with lasting results with this particular full moon. So use this full moon for more emotional issues, use this full moon for health-related issues, for endings that you choose, for realizing what you don't want to keep doing or what you don't want to keep feeling. That's a great way to use this energy. But for the financial part of it, just hold off. Wait till the end of the week and you will find you really like your understanding and you really like the answers you're getting that much more. And when it comes to matters of love, now this energy is like, it has a very spill your guts and then feeling really vulnerable and thinking, oh, what am I doing? That's the kind of energy we have here. So as I like to say from time to time, I like to say that person that you're just meeting for the first time, that person that you that has come up to you and you're talking with, and is offering to buy you a drink or buy you a coffee or asking you out for a coffee, that person that you're on a first date, a second date, third date, fourth date with, that person is not your therapist. And so you don't need to treat that as a moment of, purging, emotional purging. Nor should that person feel that way with you, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people have the experience out there where they go out on a date with somebody and it's just, whoa, that's way too much information, way too soon. If they had told you that 6 months, a year into a relationship, you would have taken that information very differently than if they just let all that out the first, second, third time that you're meeting them. So don't be that person. But it might be that someone else is that person with you. And if that's the case, then that's how it is. At least you'll get a lesson and an understanding that you want a partner, you don't want to be somebody's therapist, and nor would you want somebody to be your therapist. If you're in an established bond, again, there is that energy there, a desire to spill your guts. I would say hold back, hold back. Wait until we get to the end of the week, or better yet, next week, because that is when Venus in your sign starts having all these harmonious conversations with your modern ruler and your ancient ruler. Wait until then. That is when it's a good time to talk things out. It's a good time to remember what's worth sharing. And what's worth sharing is about who you are today and what affects you today, not necessarily about stuff that, is buried long ago that has nothing to do with who you are right now. So just be mindful of that. There might be a feeling, a desire, a drive to spill your guts about something that it doesn't even matter. I promise you, you give it a few days and you'll realize, whoa, what was I thinking? Why did I feel the need to share that? And so in order to prevent that, ride the energy in the later part of the week, which is going to say that any conversation you have will lead you back to the best of yourself. Hello, fabulous Pisces. This week we've got a full moon in your opposite sign. Having a full moon in your opposite sign always, always, always speaks to love. Now, I do want to give you a little bit of a heads up. 2 weeks from now, we are going to have an eclipse in your sign. That's going to be huge. And I did talk about that, and you will see me talk about that in the March horoscopes that are being edited right now as we speak. Having said that, as I look at this energy and as I look at this sky, where it comes to meeting someone new, well, here's the thing. When you have a full moon in your opposite sign, someone is there. And it could be, you know, someone that you have feelings towards. It could be just somebody who's helping you to see something about yourself and why you are where you are in the context of love, what your beliefs are in the context of love. But also this energy also has to do with, if you're in an established bond in particular, you'll be feeling the energy of this full moon. And the thing is, this full moon, I'm seeing it as speaking to, we want something, and it might be really lofty, and it might be really not even realistic. And if we want something that really is not realistic, if we're expecting someone to come in on a giant horse in a sparkling suit and rescue us, well, that's not realistic, and nor would we want that, I think. I think that misses the point. But love can heal, and love does rescue in a different way, okay? So love doesn't save you from yourself, but what love does is help you to see yourself differently so that you can become more of who it is that you desire to be, so that you can see these different parts of you and decide what the best of you is and to move in that direction. That's how love saves. But it isn't that if you have work to do, you can't pass that on to any other person. So as I look at this particular energy, I feel that if you are open to meeting someone new, if ever there was a time that it just goes right over your head, this would be it. This full moon has a lot of that energy in it. But more than that, there's also like a pessimistic or pessimism with this, and you don't want to give into that either, because ultimately this is telling you what work needs to happen so that you can have love that feels inspired and healing, love that feels beautiful, love that is closer to an ideal than you've known before. But where is it also that your expectations are like way unrealistic? This is where you will be brought back to earth. So there's a balancing here, but also a reality check here as well. And the truth is that reality is so much more beautiful and fantastical and spiritual than any kind of fantasy that we could conjure up. And that's part of the sacred learning that's happening for you, particularly early in the week. If you are in an established bond, just know that you may get information that isn't necessarily accurate. You may not be looking at the bond necessarily accurately. So you want to be mindful of that, because this is going to be a time when the universe wants you to get more honest with yourself and with this other person. But it's not always what you think it is, right? So your first impression, your first reaction, your first realization may not be suited to the intention of your partner. So if you find yourself your partner does something and you have a really strong reaction and you think it means something, breathe. Just breathe. Give yourself a moment, right? Just take that little moment. If you can, give them the benefit of the doubt. But if you do that and then you approach it with a little bit of calmness, a little bit of maturity, then you will be led towards the truth of what you have, the truth of the relationship, and the truth of what you desire. But it is going to take you not reacting, but just giving yourself that one moment. And you may find that you have what you want and so much more. You might find that you don't have what you think you did. Either way, it empowers you. Either way, it moves you in a positive direction. What I also really love about this week for you is that as we move further into the week, it's like on a deeper level, so much is resolved. On a deeper level, you're changing how you see yourself in the best possible sense. You're allowing yourself to experience greater success. You're allowing yourself to experience greater prosperity. And you're also understanding that you deserve more than you knew before. And the universe affirms this through some very karmic and very quick moments at that. So be open to all the information and all the prosperity that might be out there. Some very quick developments can have you getting the information you need to very quickly get an advancement, to very quickly find yourself earning more money. And ultimately is going to be rooted in an understanding that you deserve to have love, you deserve to have prosperity, you deserve to have all those good things in the world. If they're in the world, they are available to you. And nurturing that sense of self-worth can only lead to not only better things, but some truly fun, inspiring, and happy moments as we move further and further into the week. Well, thank you so much to all signs out there. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.